Sussex must be punished. William rages against King Charles over the actions of Harry. New reports suggest that King Charles and Prince William are increasingly at odds over the rogue royal. Hello and a very warm welcome back to Kate Middleton and the Queen News YouTube channel. The truth of the matter is, throughout history, there are many examples of Windsor patriarchs who have not been able to get along very well with their eldest sons. For example, Edward VII was a little too interested in patronizing his favorite Parisian brothel, so he did not have a lot of time left over to parent the boy who would end up growing into the harsh George V. As a result, later on, he really went for his son David, also known as Edward VIII, and at the same time, he referred to his son Bertie, aka George VI, as an ugly duckling. And what about Prince Philip? Well, reportedly, he considered his son, King Charles, to be a bit of a wimp, and he tried to fix that by sending him to a Scottish boarding school that His Majesty referred to as Colditz in Kilts. But recently, it did appear that Charles and his son Prince William had somehow miraculously managed to buck this trend. For evidence to support this claim, we only need to look at the Cambridge's social media accounts on Father's Day back in 2020. On that day, the Cambridge's social media accounts all published a photo that was taken by Catherine, and in this photo you could see William with his arm around his father, demonstrating a level of royal affection that's typically reserved for dogs. We got to see two future kings hugged together, and there was so much warmth and tenderness Queen Victoria had to have been turning over in her grave. But now that father-son relationship might be under threat. There are many reports out suggesting that King Charles and Prince William are not seeing eye to eye when it comes to what to do with Harry and Meghan Markle. To better understand this entire situation, we need to think back to that Father's Day photo. At that time, Meghan and Harry had very recently ran off in a huff to sunny California, leaving behind the royal family. Reportedly, a pretty interesting byproduct of Megxit was actually that Charles and William got much closer. See, for quite a long time, probably even decades, things weren't so good between the two men. Both of them are reported to have tempers behind closed doors. According to the Times, William inherited some of his father's irascibility. But back in January of 2020, when Harry and Meghan fired off their resignation letter through their Instagram post and unleashed a lot of chaos, supposedly there was quite a renaissance between William and Charles. In 2021, a friend told the Times royal editor Roy Anika, as the years passed, there were strains imposed by the system: money, work, competition, Diana. Part of William's evolution is that as he has become closer to his father, he sees their similarities. As their respective destinies get closer, it weighs more heavily on them and strengthens the bond. The rift with Harry has also brought them closer. In the years that have passed since then, the alignment of Charles and William seems to have only gotten stronger. And then, of course, came Harry's book Spare, all 400 pages of it, which is an interesting mix of deeply moving grief, some petty point scoring, and a long dull bit in the middle about the army. It portrayed the royal family in a very unflattering light, and overall its release has more than a little bit of the postmodern Cromwell about it. And that brings us to today. Now, apparently, according to reports, the king and his eldest son are now not agreeing about how to proceed from here. Both the Daily Mail and Vanity Fair are reporting that Charles wants his younger son inside of Westminster Abbey for his big day, and he's considering calling in the Archbishop of Canterbury to help. A source close with the king has told Vanity Fair's Katie Nicholl that he will invite the Sussexes because it is the right thing to do and will hopefully pave the way for peace. But reportedly, William is not so excited about this idea. He is not willing to forgive Harry like his father is. Well, the king is friends with the Dalai Lama, so maybe this does make sense when we consider that. But anyway, if William is not ready to wave the white flag, maybe it has something to do with the fact that some of the worst stuff in Spare are concerning him. His younger brother makes William out to be this big bully with a horrible temper, willing to use his fists, and he doesn't care how emotionally attached Harry has become to his beard either. Let's ignore the fact that at some points Harry inadvertently shows Willie to actually be a very loving, kind older brother. Harry tells that at one point his older brother grabbed his shirt during an argument and he told him, "Listen to me, Harold, listen. I love you, Harold. I want you to be happy." And things between the two brothers now are decidedly icy. In Vanity Fair, sources close to the Prince of Wales say there's no trust left between him and Harry. And another friend of William's has told the Times that inside he's burning and that he's not just going to roll over. And making the situation even more complicated is the fact that William is supposedly worried that Meghan and Harry may try to stage some kind of stunt. The Mail is reporting that William fears that unless Harry's visit is tightly scripted, he could steal the limelight by, for example, going on a walkabout in a deprived London borough with Meghan. And I guess this is where the two men are differing. So Charles reportedly wants Meghan and Harry back in the UK for his coronation, but William doesn't think it's a great idea to allow them anywhere near the SWI postcode, much less Westminster Abbey. What's important here is not only what resolution they may all reach about the coronation, but the fact that any growing rift between Charles and William is going to be catastrophic. The last thing the royal family needs right now is another feud between family members. They've got enough of that going on. Since Megxit, the royal family has become very adept at putting on shows of public unity with each other, from the large Windsor horde who show up for Catherine's annual Christmas concert at the Abbey to their retweeting and support of each other's charity work. They are certainly there for each other, and they make a big show of it. Now, the working members of the royal family's approval ratings are not really stable right now, so what they really need is to get some wins on the board, and for the people to concentrate on their good work, instead of which HRHs are busy talking bad about each other. For example, on Thursday, the news came out that Charles has opened the doors of two of his Scottish properties, the Castle of May and Dumfries House 2, and his personally owned country estate Highgrove he's opened as warm spaces. So warm spaces are places that people can go, locals, if they're struggling during the cost of living crisis and just need somewhere nice and safe and warm to be. So the idea of Charles and William having a falling out is bad, and beyond the practicalities, if we were to see them really have problems, it would only further diminish what standing the monarchy still has. The king is supposed to be this unifying national figure who everybody can get behind. He is not supposed to be the Kris Jenner of nobility. So for now at least, it seems like the center is holding inside the royal family, and two men are trying to convey an image of harmony according to Valentine Low, author of the book Courtiers. Recently, that's what he told royal reporter Patricia Treble. For the moment, all is peace between the king and his heir, not least perhaps because they face a common problem. And of course that common problem is Harry. But as Valentine Low warns, it won't last forever. Do you hear the ominous background music? I know I sure do. And what about you? What do you think about the relationship between William and Charles? Please let me know your opinion below in the comment section, and we can also discuss the royal family together. If you think my video is helpful, don't be afraid to like and share it with your friends and relatives who would enjoy it anytime you want. And please click subscribe button below to get more updates from Kate Middleton and the Queen News team. Now thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and I'll be back to see you in the next videos.